The Latin alphabet is very similar to the English alphabet. There are only a few letters missing. The missing letters are J, U, and W. The letters K, Y, and Z are letters that were entered into the Latin alphabet from the Greek language because they wanted to incorporate some Greek words into their alphabet. Let's talk about some of the differences in the sounds of the Latin alphabet. For example, the letter C is always hard, as in cat. It is never soft, as in the word scent. An example of this in Latin would be canto, cana. The letter G is also always hard, like goat, never soft like the word gem. A Latin example of this would be genus. The letter I sometimes functions as a consonant that appears before a vowel, and when it does, it is pronounced like the Y in yellow, y. The example of this would be Julius. The letter R is often rolled, for example, error. The letter S makes a hissing sound, never a Z sound, so it's going to sound like sit and never like easy. The example of this would be semper, senatus. The letter T always makes a T sound, never a sh, so it's going to sound like temple instead of nation. The example of this in Latin would be ratio. The letter V makes a R sound like a W, like the word wine. The Latin word for wine is vinum, but it's spelled with the V. The letter X makes a K sound, like a KS, as in ox or axe, never like a Z sound, as in exam. An example of this in Latin would be nox or rex. There are also some consonant blends that you need to be aware of. The letters BS or BT often make the sound as in PS or PT. So, for example, the word for city, URBS, sounds like ERPS because the B and the S are together. The letters BT in the word OBTINEO would be pronounced optineo. GU makes a gr sound like a penguin. An example of this in Latin would be lingua. A QU makes a qu sound like quarter, quod in Latin. CH will always make a k sound like carta. TH makes a T sound as in teatro. PH makes a P sound as in orpheus. Double consonants, when you have those, they're going to each consonant will be pronounced as two distinct sounds. For example, P-U-E-L-L-A, puella. It means girl, so you pronounce puella. Moving on to vowels. Vowels in Latin are the same as in English, A, E, I, O, or U. They can either be long or short, and they're long or short by nature. It's easy to tell in Latin if a vowel is long because it will have a long mark called a macron above it. An example of a short A sound is A, as in alike. In Latin, you hear the word casa. A long A makes an A sound like father, pater in Latin. A short E is E, as in get. Memoria would be an example of that in Latin. A long E makes an A sound, as in they. An example of that would be cena, dinner. A short I makes an I sound, as in knit. An example of that in Latin would be inter. A long I makes an E sound, as in machine. Ire would be an example in Latin. A short O is A, as in pot. Bonus. Long O is O, as in hose. Erro. A short U is U, as in put. Marcus would be an example of that in Latin. A long U would be U, as in rude. Ludus, which means game or sport in Latin. In addition to the vowel sounds, sometimes vowels combine to form special features called diphthongs. Diphthongs are two consonants that come together and form their own unique sound. There are 6 of these in Latin. Let me go over those with you. AE makes the sound I, as in isle. An example of that would be feminae. AU makes an ow sound, as in ouch. An example of that would be laudo. EI makes a sound